Hello and welcome. Today, we're jumping into a really important issue for millions of Moroccans living all over the world, the right to vote. It's a right that seems crystal clear on paper, but in reality, well, it's a lot more complicated. So, just imagine for a second. You're part of this huge global Moroccan community. You contribute to the economy, you're a vital part of the culture, and the country's highest law, the Constitution, says your voice matters in elections. But when voting day comes, can you actually cast that vote? Let's break down the gap between that promise and the reality on the ground. Okay, so first things first, let's look at what the law actually says. It's so important to understand the official starting point for all of this, because this right isn't just an idea, it's written down.
And here it is, Article 17 of the Constitution. The key words here are full citizenship rights. That's not a suggestion, it's not a maybe, it's a guarantee written into the country's highest law for over a decade now. It says your connection to Morocco includes the right to help decide its political future. It couldn't be clearer.
So the law is clear, but as you'll see, having a right on paper and actually being able to use it are two totally different things. For Moroccans abroad, it's less like a path to the ballot box and more like a really tough obstacle course.
And this slide really just lays out the problem perfectly. The promise is so inspiring, right? Direct participation. But the reality, well, it's basically two options, and both are almost impossible for most people. You either have to book a potentially expensive flight and take time off work to be in Morocco on one specific day, or you have to vote by proxy. And that means finding someone you trust completely to cast your ballot for you. These are huge, huge barriers.
And what's the result of this obstacle course? This number says it all. Less than 1%. Just let that sink in. Out of millions of eligible voters, their collective voice is basically silenced. The overwhelming majority of the diaspora simply isn't being heard in Moroccan elections.
So, this is the big question, isn't it? If the right is written in the Constitution and the current system clearly doesn't work, what's the holdup? Why hasn't this been fixed in all these years? This is where we have to look past the practical problems and into the politics of it all.
Now, this quote from a former head of government is incredibly revealing. When someone at that level says a decision is out of my hands, it tells you that this isn't just about political parties arguing. It hints that the final decision is being made at the very highest levels of the state.
You know, the official line you often hear is that it's all due to logistical difficulties. But political analysts, they point to something much deeper. They talk about a serious lack of political will, both from political parties and from the Makhzen, the deep state and its elite circles. There seems to be a real fear of an uncontrolled vote from citizens abroad, people they can't easily predict. Plus, there's a constant blame game going on, and even skepticism about the loyalty of people who hold dual citizenship.
And this right here, this illustrates the central paradox perfectly. Moroccans abroad send home over 100 billion dirhams every single year. They are a massive economic force for the country, but when it's time to have a say in how that country is run, they have almost no political voice. It's a textbook case of contribution without representation. But look, this isn't where the story ends. The situation isn't set in stone. In fact, there are powerful, real-world tools that citizens can use to claim their constitutional rights and actually push for change.
Think of this as a practical guide for active citizenship. These aren't just abstract ideas, these are real strategies that people can and have used to make their voices heard and demand political change. First up, constitutional petitions. This is a formal, legal path. The Constitution itself gives citizens this right. If you can gather enough support, you can actually force Parliament to put this issue on the agenda and debate it officially. Next, media campaigns. And in our world today, this is a huge one. Using social media, creating a movement online, getting the press to pay attention, all of this can build incredible public pressure. We've already seen youth groups like Gen Z 212 show just how powerful online organizing can be. The third tool is to use the legal system itself. This means taking the fight to the courts. You can challenge the current election laws, arguing that they actually violate the Constitution. You can also file official complaints with human rights organizations to force them to take a public stand. And finally, there's international pressure. By teaming up with global human rights groups or taking the issue to the United Nations, the diaspora can put this on the world stage. That adds a whole new level of moral and diplomatic pressure on the government to act. Now, if you're thinking, okay, but maybe this is all just too complicated to organize, I want you to look at Morocco's neighbors, because this isn't some impossible dream. It's already happening all across the region.
I mean, this table says everything, doesn't it? France, Italy, Algeria, Tunisia, all of them, Morocco's neighbors and partners, have figured out how to give their citizens abroad a real voice, with actual seats in parliament reserved for them. And then you get to Morocco, a zero.
This quote just hammers the point home. It shows that Morocco is the exception, the one outlier in its own region when it comes to this basic democratic right. Clearly, those logistical difficulties everyone talks about, well, they've been solved by everyone else. So when you put it all together, you see that change is absolutely possible. The tools are there, other countries have already shown the way. So really the question isn't if this can be done anymore, it's when. And with the next elections coming up in 2026, the time to act is now. Did you like this explainer? Don't just watch. Hit that like button, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel. And make sure you ring the bell so you never miss a new video or a live stream from us. And hey, if you want to see exclusive content before anyone else, head over to anawatan.org and subscribe today. When you do that, you're supporting the free and independent voices of citizens, and you're helping us have the discussions that build our shared values. Thanks for watching.